Hello everyone and welcome back to our tropical hurricane update and discussion for the 1st of August. Today we're mainly focusing on our Hurricane Hilda and the potential to see some activity in the coming weeks in the Atlantic Basin. So let's start off in the Eastern Pacific. We do have a lot of things going on right now. We do have Tropical Depression 9 that is producing some more convection associated with it. There is some deconvection firing up to the east side, and it does seem that the low levels, or whatever centers are here, probably a low level center and a mid level center, will probably help it become more aligned. But again, there's this easterly wind shear at the moment that is affecting pretty much all of these systems at this moment in time, as we can see with Hurricane Hilda, we do see some easterly wind shear that has been affecting the system pretty much over the last 12 to 24 hours, and same with our other area of interest further east to the coast of Mexico. We do see a naked, kind of a naked half exposed swirl, and most of the convection is pushed off to the west, suggesting some easterly wind shear, and we can see this with Hilda as well. So with our tropical depression now, we could definitely see this deep convection try to help. If this can lower some convection upshare, it could help it probably gain maybe a tropical storm status. But at this moment of time, there is no signal in the forecast models that suggest that it's going to become a tropical storm, neither with this area of interest at the moment of time. Maybe if this can produce some convection upshare, this could be classed as a tropical depression as well. So a lot to watch over the next couple of days for the Eastern Pacific. And none these systems have no land impact at all, so these will be just something to look at in the Eastern Pacific and admire the Mother Nature that she is. So let's take a look at why this is happening in the Eastern Pacific. As we can see, we do have a large and positive phase of the MGO, extremely positive in the Eastern Pacific. So this is a lot of rising air and motion in the atmospheres. So these are um, these are the reasons why we are seeing these tropical disturbances in the Eastern Pacific, and this even stays around into the week one forecast, where we could potentially see another two very strong tropical cyclones forming in the Eastern Pacific. This is beyond the 5-day range, so there's a lot to gamble for. But the GFS has been hinting at this for the possibility for the past couple of runs really, and it's really been persistent with this as well. So a lot to play for in the Eastern Pacific as well as the Atlantic Basin. As we head into the week one forecast, we do see that our MGO now is fully engulfing the Atlantic Basin, so this will help any tropical waves coming off Africa and any tropical disturbances that make their way into the Western Caribbean, especially into the far Western Caribbean, where they'll be under extremely positive rising air motion. And as we head into the week two forecast, we still see the MGO is sticking around, however a bit weaker, but still the MJ is there, and especially over Africa, where we could definitely see some a lot of waves coming off Africa, many robust waves at that moment of time. So again, a lot to gamble for in the next coming weeks in the Atlantic Basin as well as in the Eastern Pacific. And just taking a quick look at the Calmays across the Atlantic Basin, we see a suppressed state in the central Mediterranean region, and then some positive Kelvin wave in the East Pacific, as well as a positive Kelvin wave over Africa at the moment of time. So this is what's going to be enhancing those tropical waves coming off Africa, and some of the models are trying to maybe suggest some development down the line. We'll have to keep an eye out for that in the coming couple of days, as now we're heading into 5-day range, where we can definitely see some maybe some development trying to form. Just a quick look at Hurricane Hilda's intensity guidance. This is basically all the models run of the intensity of the storm. As you can see, it is now just a general property of a decaying and weakening system as we head out in time. The bottom bar shows you the forecast hour. If I should, the bottom bar shows you the forecast hour, and then the obviously the y-axis shows you the wind speeds. So we do see by pretty much the 5-day range, we do get a probably a remnant low pressure of Hurricane Hilda. So let's take a look at the GFS run of Hurricane Hilda and the other systems around it. We see there's a lot of dry, stable air to the north of the systems. This is due to this high pressure. and all this stable air, and there's of course these temperatures around in this area. So as these systems do head into this basically brick wall, they do start to weaken pretty fast as GFS does start to weaken Hilda pretty significantly, but doesn't. The GFS does do a Fujiwara effect with both of these systems. So the system to the right gets entrained kind of into Hurricane Hilda, and as we move out into further time, we see that these two dance around each other, and then the system to the left, Tropical Depression 9, at the moment that is next to Hilda, shift stressing that Tropical Depression 9 will become the dominant vorticity, so Hilda will get merged and trained again into maybe our next tropical storm in the Eastern Pacific, and as we see by really the 5-day range, what the GFS does, it then eventually just kills these systems off as a Hurricane Hilda. The leftovers never really just get fully absorbed into the other system. So we just have two remnant lows and a lot of dry air, and these systems will engulf a lot of this dry air as we go into beyond the 5-day range. And then we need to start turning our attention to the Eastern Pacific, as we already see not too far out now. If the next couple of days we'll start to get a bit more of a clearer picture what will be happening closer to the land masses, as we do see another strong tropical cyclone trying to form off the coast of Africa, probably about 300, maybe 400 miles. So we'll have to keep an eye on this as to see where it'll be going, but just to show you where the potentials are, we do see that our high pressure does establish itself again further and pushes back down south with a lot of dry, stable air as well. So we do see a large plume of moisture in the atmosphere associated with this potentially major hurricane as it moves north and pushes north into this cooler and drier, stable air, and then really quickly again the dry air manages to entrain itself, and then the system dies off relatively quickly, as we see on this one, and it takes another couple of days before this system is killed off by the dry air. Then we had to start, and then the GFS is still, but then again hinting at another possibility of any development down here. It does line up with the MGO as well, so this could happen. And again, this is now we are standing into the long range hours, so again, a lot to play for. So take all this bit with a grain of salt. But the GFS has been very persistent with this. It's been showing this showing this over the past couple of model runs, becoming a pretty strong tropical cyclone, so we'll have to keep an eye on it. And then again, in the next couple of days, we'll start to get a clearer picture of what will be happening with this system. So again, something to watch out for, and we'll see what the Euro is saying on these systems right now. We see our Hurricane Hilda are potentially tropical depression over the next couple of days if the convection can start to fire over the low level center or the mid level center. If there is, I assume that that's definitely that there is a closed level center with this storm as well as with this storm. So it's just about that convection starting to fire consistently and over the both of those centers, or the vortexes. Sorry, the both of the vortexes, that we could see some name statements with this system and potentially get this upgraded to a tropical storm in the coming days. But on the Euro model, we see that it kills the system off to the east of Hurricane Hilda. I actually don't know why the Euro can't do that. It's a bit bizarre, to be honest. I can't take a sound in watching the Euro, but maybe it's just that easterly wind shear that is just too strong and kills that system off. And then eventually it tries to get tropical pressure 9 to form, but again, it'll be too late by then before it starts to encounter the cool sea surface temperatures. But if we could possibly see if we could see any more development, if that changes over to the Central Pacific, we do see eventually that, or maybe the Euro just suggests that instead of moving farther to the north, it kind of moves to the west, and this is probably where it has maybe some more warmer sea sensors to deal with. And by the time we see that we get to the end of this forecast hour that we currently got on this troll team, we see that we just get the remnant lows just south of Hawaii and some interesting features down here, but we do not cover that side of the basin. We only cover the eastern and Atlantic side of the basin for now, Let's turn us to the Atlantic Basin then. So again, there's no land threat associated with Hurricane Hilda or Tropical Storm 9 or the area of disturbed weather to the east of Hurricane Hilda. So I think we're probably going to see a couple more named storms potentially in the eastern Pacific, and then all our eyes turn our attention to the Atlantic Basin, where we could see a pretty active mid to late August. I'm talking about maybe 3 or 4 named active storms at the same time. Again, a lot to play for with this forecast model. I'm saying around 3, maybe to 4, as I definitely definitely think that we could possibly see that in the coming weeks. Let's take a look at sea temperatures across the whole entire basin. Again, the Gulf of Mexico really warm, around 31, maybe 31 to maybe 32 degrees in isolated areas, but mainly around 30 degrees across the board. Eastern Pacific, the northeast coasts are running warm with the Gulf Stream, 29, really maxing out at 29 degrees. Just south of Florida in near the Miami Keys, Bahamas around 30 degrees. Western Caribbean now starting to peak in temperatures as well, 30 degrees. Definitely might be a bit more warmer in this area. And same down in the South Caribbean. Sea temperatures are now starting to climb even more, sitting around 28 to 29 degrees. And the same with the subtropics again, really warm sea temperatures are pretty much in the subtropics at the moment in time. It's sitting around 28 to 27 degrees, so this is well supportive enough for tropical cyclone genesis to occur if other conditions allow. So I had to watch out for any potentially for subtropical storms, but at this moment in time, the high pressure is going to be very strong across the region, so I don't expect any kind of development in this area. But the main region again is nicely warming up. We do starting to see the 27 to 28 degrees Celsius. Starting to move a bit more north, especially the 26-degree line. It's now starting to come in near to the Cape Verde Islands, and the 27 degrees line is starting to push a bit more further north. So the North Atlantic is starting to warm pretty nicely as we are mainly getting westerlies across the Atlantic basin, and this is going to be persisting for most of the rest of the month. Let's turn our attention to our model run. This is looking at the cyclonic vorticity around 5,000 feet off the ground. And what we see at the moment in time is we do see a large tropical wave coming off the coast of Africa, rather broad, nothing really organized or worrying sight at this time. We see this moves around across the mainland region and poses no threat. But what we do need to turn our attention to beyond the 5-day range by this is the potentially to see some development with our next wave that comes off a bit further south and starts to move north. But if it stays further south for a bit more longer, we could be seeing we could see this maybe have a bit more better chance of surviving the trip across the main development region. But I'm not going to. I'm only going to go a couple more hours, and actually I'll keep it at 180, as I don't want to produce any panic or scare people. Let's take a sounding of this tropical wave, and we can see wind shear. Not much. Wind shear is really good. We do have a really uniformed wind column, mostly westerlies across the whole board, across the whole entire atmosphere. We do have a lot of instability associated with this at this moment in time with this forecast hour, and so we could see some tropical cyclone formation in the main development region. What we're going to have to watch for is how far north this gets before it starts to entrain some of the dry air associated with this high pressure zone. Pushing this thing to the west. If you've been following the runs, you might have seen a scarier run on the 60 run. Again, a far range, so I won't take everything you see on these model runs. That's going to be pitch perfect. Take it with a grain of salt. We could see maybe a system trying to form in the main region over the next 5 to 7 days. So I have to watch, and especially over the next couple of days, to see how the models kind of agree on this system that might be moving off, that might try to form coming off Africa. Let's take a look at the ensemble members, and this is basically looking up at your potential persistable, I can't say the word, sorry, but the amount of water that is coming off, and we see a large plume of very heavy amounts of water off the coast of Africa, suggesting there's a lot of moisture and rainfall associated with this. As we move, oops, sorry, as we move out in time, we see that large tropical wave I was talking about that's coming off the coast of Africa now, moving into the central main region. Nothing to worry about with this system. But then we turn our attentions further to the east as we get another a system trying to form, and we do see there is some high total amount of water, around 60 millimeters of water. So there's a lot. There is moisture available, but how much moisture, how much of this dry air to the north that is around, it will depend on if we see any formation or trying to get any development of a tropical cyclone in the main region. I'll show you the ensemble members. We see that tropical wave that is exiting Africa now has some ensemble members excited, but nothing too concerning at this moment in time. But as we head out even more, as we start to talk about that wave that I was talking about earlier, we see that some of the ensemble members are suggesting a potentially for a tropical disturbance near the Lesser Antilles. Some members back further east, but we'll have to again keep an eye on this as there's a lot to play for really with this upcoming August. But again, there are signs that we are starting to turn the Atlantic Basin is starting to wake up a little bit. And we do now have to start watching this as we do get a positive MJ passing over as well as a Kelvin wave passing over. So we'll have to definitely keep an eye on the main Atlantic region for a potential system trying to form over the next 5 to 10 days. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but at the moment there are some of the models are suggesting maybe something trying to keep going in the mainland region. So if you did enjoy today's video, please like and subscribe and turn on notifications to get updated about our new videos coming out, and let's try and spread awareness about tropical cyclones as they are very dangerous, and it only takes one cyclone to ruin someone's life or family. So if you do have any family and friends living in hurricane prone areas, if you would like to share this video to them, I'd highly appreciate that as well. So that's all for today's video, folks, and I'll see you tomorrow.